Hey guys, welcome back. So, this is another episode of the Fitness Archives, but I'm just going to go on to a side quest, if you will. And I want to talk about the exercise selection that I have and why I choose to do this exercise as opposed to that, or why don't you see me do this anymore and you see me doing more of this. And this is going to be based on how I feel, because maybe I am a lot leaner now, or two, because I just don't feel that pump or that DOMS afterwards. And I know a lot of people downplay this, especially the science-based community, but there's something to be said. Even though this doesn't directly contribute to hypertrophy, getting a pump during the session indicates that you are putting tension on that region that you want. And then it reaffirms or confirms that the next day when you do have DOMS. And again, DOMS is not going to be there forever. It's going to go away. The pump might go away as well once you get, really acclimated to that exercise. But every now and again, if you kind of disrupt that rhythm by doing more reps or adding more weight or taking a break, going to do another thing, coming back, it's going to tell you, oh, wow, the squats do hit my adductors. I'm feeling it in between my thighs. That sounds weird. Stuff like that. So if someone tells you it doesn't put tension, this exercise specifically isn't good or doesn't put tension where you think it does, but you feel otherwise, literally, ignore it, okay? And it's also based on what I have, because I train at home. Most of my life, most of my career, lifting career, has been training at home. So I'm not going to sit here all day because I have a tendency to over yap, as you can tell right now even. So I've just picked about 5 or 6 exercises that I'm just going to briefly discuss as to why I do it or don't do it anymore and the drawbacks. This is based on my own experience. So if I said X is crap, but you think X is great, by all means, don't listen to me, okay? Really pay attention as to what works for you and what you enjoy, So again, without further ado, at the top spot of being the worst, in my opinion, is the spider curl and the preacher curl. Now, I don't know why that is, but I tried so many variations. I'm going to put them up on screen. But it's almost like the resistance profile just doesn't really gel with me. And perhaps it's because of my anthropometry, my limb lengths when it comes to this exercise is just whack. And I chose to do this exercise partly because it's it's a short and biased supposed exercise, so it's not as fatiguing. But when I think about it as well, how can a single joint isolation movement be fatiguing? Like, how is it fatiguing? I know one of them is, which is going to come up soon. I'm going to explain. I'm going to go into it. But I tried different angles and I got really creative, but just something, it didn't have that commercial grade experience, if you will, even though it might look like it did on video or on paper. So instead of wasting my time and giving myself lifting anxiety, I just scratched it. Does that mean I'll never do it? No, I'll probably do it every now and again. Maybe I might get some inspiration and I try and improve on it, whatever. But for the foreseeable future, I don't think so, man. And what I mean by lifting anxiety, I know that's a really what the hell, you okay? But I use these terms loosely. But my whole goal with these archives is to remind myself as well how simple this is and do not complicate it. And whoever watches this, whoever I direct these videos to, I need them to understand me looking at my best, being pretty damn strong. I wouldn't say my best, but looking pretty damn good at 39 and lifting pretty heavy at 39. This is what it took. It was very, very simple. No overthinking. And the last thing I want to do is overthink. And that's what I did with those spider curls and those preacher curls. I have to think should I do it on leg extension attachment where it's on an angle, or should I do it on my Bulgarian split squats, my preacher curl, and use a cable, do it a cable curl and mimic a preacher curl like that. Which one's better? And I used to kind of weigh up the options, ask ChatGPT to compare and contrast and look up YouTube videos and then just kind of It was just a headache. And that's the same with the spider curls. Should I do 20 degrees or 40 degrees on the angle? Should I use dumbbells or should I use my rotating specialty bar that's ergonomically designed to be joint friendly, and it would add to another joint action happening, supination. Now, there is something to be said for the spider curl as well that I didn't like, and that is when the weight got heavy or when I started to reach close proximity to failure, I would either flex at the shoulder or do some weird drag curl. So another thing for me is the reason why this isn't number one is because I need to standardize my form. I get that having a little bit of shoulder flexion is not going to kill you, and part of the bicep brachii is to flex the shoulder. But when it comes to hypertrophy, when you want to maximize hypertrophy, you want to put as much tension on a region as you possibly can. So the name of the game is to put yourself in the most disadvantaged position when it comes to getting from point A to point B. It's the opposite of powerlifting. Powerlifting, you're trying to do whatever it takes to get from point A to point B. So you put yourself in the most advantageous position. So a low bar back squat. So that's going to have you leaning forward more. So you're going to involve the hips. You're going to have a wider stance so you get more glutes and adductors involved. You're going to go to half depth or to the appropriate competition level depth, stuff like that. But when it comes to, say, a high bar back squat or something like a Smith machine squat, what you want to do is put it high up on your traps. You want to try and maintain an upright torso by moving your feet forward, and that will allow you to also have more knee flexion. So you're getting those quads under a huge stretch. You might even want to have like a heel elevation as well to make you able to hit that. So just stuff like that. So like, again, there's nothing inherently wrong with flexing at the shoulder when you're doing bicep curls. But again, I have experienced that and I never really felt an insane tension, that commercial grade experience when I've executed like that. So that's why those two exercises are like a no-go for me. The second one, and this is funny, but it's a barbell curl. And the barbell curl just feels badass. It's just this free weight barbell movement. But as the weight gets heavier, two things tend to happen. One, the barbell starts to ragdoll me, because by the time I get to half my body weight or a little bit more, it's just really hard to control that eccentric. When I say control the eccentric, I don't necessarily mean 5-second slowdown, but to just to show someone it's textbook, I'm in control of the weight. In this case, the weight's in control of me. It drags me down. And then no matter how much I standardize the exercise, no matter how slow I progress, I've got microplates, I eventually end up getting, elbow tendinopathy or elbow tendonitis, whatever you want to call it, distal pain in the bicep region. So yeah, it's just one of those unfortunate ones I just can't do. Maybe it's old age, maybe it's the body fat that I'm in, which, by the way, I had another low eating, a good 2,900-ish calories, 3,000 yesterday, 146.5. Wow. I haven't been this low in years, man, and over a decade. So that's another reason why, or that's the main reason why I don't like this exercise. But it's fun, and fun is a big factor. But again, fun also for me means that I'm making progress, So moving on to the cable curl. Now, there's two ways of doing this. The first one is a definitely no-no, and that's facing the cables. But when you face away from the cable, what this does is that it puts tension at the very start. So it's got a really good resistance profile. I really, really like this. And the way I set it up, unfortunately, I can't find a video. I probably have a video where it's kind of half-assed. So I'm just going to put it up as like for an Instagram reel. But man, it's just really solid. The way I'm standing, because the weight is kind of heavy, it's dragging me, but because of the horizontal uprights, it's got my foot in place. So I'm not going to go anywhere. And again, like I said, the tension's great from the immediate get-go. But no matter how much I standardize my form and no matter how much I increase the reps, say from 6 to 10 to 6 to 15, 6 to 20, I end up flexing at that shoulder. I just don't like it. I don't like it. Again, and when I get to the top, maybe it's just my own cable contraption, but I lose tension and I want tension throughout the whole way. Okay, so this isn't bad, and I'll do it from time to time. And I program it for some people, but for me personally, and what I have, I might come back to it. There might be some refining to do, unlike the barbell curl, for example, and the the spider curl and the preacher curl. It's only if I need novelty I get that desperate. But the facing away cable curl, that's got it's got hope. Okay, now two more left, and this next one's gonna get you scratching your head because I program it for almost all my athletes, and that's the incline curl. Right? I know. It's an amazing exercise. Don't get me wrong. But the thing that's the pain in the ass for me is I have to move my bench to a place to be able to do them. If I don't move my bench, because my gym space is cluttered, so this may not apply to you. And in commercial gym spaces, there's dedicated spaces for some of these exercises. Like there's benches right next to the mirror where you have dumbbells, so you can do dumbbell presses, shoulder presses, curls, like in this case. With me, I have to move the bench. And I know, like my setup is so small and the space is so small. So what's the big deal? Well, I still have to move the bench and maneuver it in a way where I don't hit anything, and I'm still moving, still expending energy, and still like time is of the essence for me, man. I know that's really hard to believe, but I don't want to spend an extra minute if I don't have to, right? The whole thing for this archive as well is to remind me, like I said, to remind me that this is simple. Don't overcomplicate it. Yes, on paper this is great, but are you willing to spend the next 2 minutes trying to set up and what have you, right? And it's two dumbbells. So it's two dumbbells I have to load up. Yes, I have said in the past that I can, prepare in advance, i.e. the night before. But sometimes I get busy and sometimes I can't be bothered. And that's very lazy of me to say. But yeah, that's not the only thing, by the way. The next thing is, as you guessed, I flex at the shoulder sometimes. Not always, but it's very hard to progress because this exercise is mentally fatiguing. Like I said earlier, how can a single joint isolated movement be fatiguing? Like, can it? Well, this one is mentally, and you see it across the board. Some people have 3 sets, some people have 4 sets. I don't know how, but even 2 sets, like the first set, you go all out and it's like burning and it's painful and it's a great feeling. It's actually an amazing exercise. Don't get me wrong. This is not completely out of my, toolbox, but it's just, man, after that first set, you get 10 reps or 12 reps or whatever it is. I do 15, sometimes 10. But the next set, no matter how long I wait, like that pump's insane. So again, that pump's a good thing. Don't get me wrong. That's a huge plus. And then the next day I get the DOMs. Great. It's an amazing exercise. Don't get me wrong. But progression is really hard for it. And the time spent in between like sets, it's too long for me, man. Like I get burnt out. Mind you, these days I'm only doing 1 top set per week. That's a 1 set per week, which I'll get into another video as to why I do that. It's a great exercise overall, but again, it's the setup for me personally, the time in between sets, and the fact that I still can't standardize it perfectly. Like you just can't help but the bicep move. And again, nothing inherently wrong with that, but I'm a person when it comes to my isolation movements, I want to do it with perfection. I want to move with grace and poise. When it comes to say deadlifts or bench press or what have you, yeah, I don't mind having a little bit of body English or being sloppy, because I have different goals for these. But when it comes to this, no, man, but again, that's not out of my toolbox. I'll come back to it at some point. I might get enticed or just feel the urge to do it because again, when I discuss my programming, I'm not locked in to one sort of exercise. I don't mind chopping and changing. Tomorrow, I might do snatch grip deadlifts, which I haven't done in ages. I might just feel the need to do. I don't get locked in and married to something. Now, the best exercise for me, and I experienced this when I was away in Australia in the gym that they had, is basically the lat pull down, facing away bicep curl. Oh my God, this was amazing. Basically having that roller pad, the pad that you put your thighs underneath to lock you in to keep you stable and not being pulled up and ragdolled by the lat pull down. That's what you do. You just face away. So your elbows or your triceps are on that pad. And because where I was, the lat pull down was right next to the wall, is I had to do it single, not had to, but I did it with single arm, and my arm that's free was on the wall. So it's so stable, and I was so standardized that the moment that I just could not finish that concentric, and it felt like I needed to, flex at the shoulder, I just called it. It was just such a perfect movement. And I was able to mimic it here back home, where I would place my tricep on the barbell. I would, put the, the J cups at an appropriate height, where I can have my triceps on the barbell. It feels really comfortable. And I get to hold the ring, the calisthenics rings, and push out, and I just feel just as stable. It was just amazing. And I just have to load up one dumbbell. That's all I have to do. And what's good is that, like these other exercises, it's got the other joint action, which is supinating at the wrist. So it was just really standardized. I can go to failure. I feel the pump and I feel the DOMs afterwards. So that for me is like an amazing exercise, just absolutely amazing. And I'm so glad I got to try it out. I've seen it on Instagram, people do it. I was like, I don't know. Now I'm programming it for some people. Some people like it, some people don't. Again, it's a case-by-case basis, but for me, this is perfection. A close second will be an incline curl. I think with the incline curl, if I had something behind me, and I think I can do this, I think I can do this. I can set this up where my triceps are on something like a barbell or my camber bar, and then I can do this. But again, it's just a setup time, and I have to put the barbell and all that. Well, with the this variation I'm talking about, it's just the barbell based on my exercises is already there anyway. So again, it's one of those quick, short, sharp, and efficient, and puts massive tension, puts me in a really disadvantageous position to be able to execute this movement. So it's just a win-win. But anyway, I don't know what I'll do tomorrow. I'll do something. Maybe it's another exercise, or maybe I'll go off on another tangent. But again, this is just an archive. So yeah, if you enjoyed this, please give it a like. Please comment. Please let me know what else you want to, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, I don't mind answering them. It might spur something. But I appreciate you coming all this way. Wow, dude. See, 17 minutes. And I just wanted to do 10. Peace.